and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Focus on Liberia. Our program on point, always with a gentleman, Jerome Gayman. You see him there comfortably seated. And this is on point here at Focus on Liberia. I'm Ansony Sieh, joining Mr. Jerome Gayman on this program on point that he having to be a host. But today we have a different kind of style. He is the one who's going to take all the hard questions. The issues that we are about to discuss are very serious. And we know him to be an unabashed citizen. He supports the government. He supports President Weah. And we are here asking the question, where are our leaders in the midst of this pandemic, this killer virus? Where are our leaders? Our understanding is that few of them have left the country. Have they abandoned their people? I got more questions for Jerome. And as you know, I always chip in with my own opinion. Welcome to the show. Hit that share button. It will be informative. It will be tough. But at the end of the day, we believe Liberia and the people of Liberia will win. Let me now welcome Mr. Jerome Gayman. Mr. Gayman, another exciting and beautiful edition of On Point. I'm happy joining you today. How are you feeling in beautiful Florida?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you and welcome to our show. Thank you for always coming to delve out what you call, or what we all know to be the bitter ball and the hot pepper and the cayenne pepper that has the government official afraid to come on your show. But despite that, we are encouraging anybody from the opposition, from the government that truly believes in what they are doing or believes in the government or your institution to come out here on point and debate the issues. You do not have to be a partisan. Come out here if you believe in yourself and believe in the topic and believe in the issues. Most of all, if you believe in our nation, it is where you come to actually vent factually. So, Mr. Sieh, thank you very much. I am ready. I think your question or the question for our mother company, Focus on Liberia, is on point. Where are they now in the midst of the killer pandemic in our country? Why are our leaders, all of them leaving? And we're going to delve into them one at a time, from the president and his delegation to France, the senators, my senior senator from Grand Bassa County, Yombe, and the senator from Monserrado County, Honorable Darius Dillon, just to name a few. So yes, we are ready to delve into those issues, sir.
Thank you. You heard him there, Mr. Jerome Gayman. Does not hide away from the issues. He's always ready to debate the issues that matter. And as always, I try to ask the hard questions so that our people can know what is going on. Yes, Jerome, you are right. Where are these leaders? There are many leaders we know who have left the country. But to be specific, we know about our president, George Weah. He has left while this killer virus is raging hell in our country. Senator Darius Dillon also left the country while the killer virus is raging hell. Reports filtering in from Morovia are scaring that people are dying day by day. And the head of the CPP, the Madame Senator Lawrence, is also out of the country. And she says some things. Does she really mean those things? Does that even make any difference when she's not in the land? The light is not in the land. But the light was seen on the flight. Many people try to accuse him that he was flying first flight. And he said, no, I didn't fly first flight. And of the first class, all that day was I went to the first class area and I just took a picture. Really, Mr. Light? You want to go take a picture of the first class section and you put it on Facebook for people to see? What's the logic? I mean, during the pandemic. I mean, we were just talking about 15K. Anyway, let's get started here. Mr. Gayman, starting with the issue here quickly. Our leaders have left the country. Let's treat them one by one. Let's start with Senator Darius DeLong. In the midst of this COVID, Senator DeLong, there's an argument as to whether he flew first class or not. He said, no, I did not. I just took a picture and I put it on Facebook. The question I'm asking is, why would DeLong post a picture that he claimed was a visit to the first class section of the aircraft? What was he up to here?
Well, as for me, we have been vindicated, I think, during the 2019-2020 electoral process. We told you that Darius DeLong was a scam. Darius DeLong is a gentleman who, my bastard brother, he knows how to talk. He can sell you snake oil for lotion. We know who he was. We call him ambassador. We call him the prophet. They say prophets are usually not needed in their own home. Go somewhere and preach, because we know his message. We know his gospel. And he was lucky enough to come to Montserrat, where there were no preachers. There were no prophets. Knowing those in Montserrat do not know the difference between a prophet, a real prophet, and a false prophet, they chose one. And here we are. The gentleman called himself the light. And we know very well what the light does. Light and darkness do not coexist. So wherever the light goes, there should be illumination. He says the people in the reason he was going to the Senate, where there were too many on spine, men and women, and he was coming to bring some spine, so that he was bringing the light. In fact, he pledged that Liberians are dying, our hospital, our medical centers are down, and we are giving ourselves millions of dollars in perks. He said, for me, as a little guy, I'm going to take only $5,000, and anything beyond $5,000, I'm going to give to the poor. I think it remembers, when you remember the prophet, the biblical character of, I think his name was Zacchaeus. So you see these things. These people come in with all their talks, and then these things happen. Now, who in the world is going to go, a man of his stature, the senator from the largest county in our state, Montserrat, one of the most renowned senators, to say he was playing around by taking pictures in first class, in the cabin of first class, and just for show, for big show, he put it on social media just to show that he's in first class, or at least that he walked by first class. It is absurd. It is absurdity. This is dishonesty. And so I got a text here from someone.
Mr. Gayman,
yes.
Mr. Gayman, I think you're trying to pick bone with the people's senator. He was clear. Maybe there are thousands of his supporters who have not had the opportunity to see how the first class section of an aircraft looks like. So he being the light to show the people, what life is like, decided to take this picture to share with his followers. He's been followed by thousands of Liberians, and through him, they see the world, they see the places they are not being able to reach. To make it look like the senator was fooling around, how does that in any way is the best way to put what the senator is trying to do here, Mr. Gayman?
Well, if Senator, if the light wanted to illuminate, to educate his folks, we all know that he worked for the alien administration for 12 years. He traveled with the president. In fact, there are pictures on social media on his own webpage that you will see he's sitting right behind the president at one of the meetings that were held either at the UN or at the Washington, D.C., one of the Washington, D.C. sites. Everywhere the president has gone, he has been there. It would have been nice if he was germane enough, if he was genuine from 2005, 2006 to 2017, all those trips that he took with the president. In fact, it would have behooved him to take picture of where the president actually sits, so the folks can see where the president sleeps, where she sleeps, where she traveled, how she traveled. Those will have been the time. So why wasn't he educating our people at
Well,
the time?
the president did not give him the, right to do so, or the approval, I should say, to do so. That's why he didn't do it. Don't you think so?
Well, Honorable Senator Darrell Dillon was just here 2 weeks ago. I know every time you fly on the plane, before you go to your seat, whether it's in cabin, whether it's in economy, you will see that you pass by first class before you go to the back of the plane. Nobody will stop you from taking picture of first class. He was just here 2 weeks ago, and it looks like every time they get that $15,000 or $20,000, that when they fly out of the country and they fly over here. Why they do that, I don't know. But so there are speculations that they are coming here for investment purposes. So Mr. Dillon, Honorable Dillon, cannot by this time fool everybody. Yes, there are some that he can fool all the time, but he can't fool all the folks all the time. Mr. Dillon, we got you.
Mr. Gayman, Mr. Abraham Darius Dillon is a senator of the people. I'm sure he's here. He posted on Facebook, as he would normally do, that he's coming here to have meetings, with consequential people here in the United States. So people are just making his whole trip about this picture. What we know is that many have accused him that he have flown first class. He released his ticket, in the interest of transparency, that he actually did not fly first class. So what is noise that you are talking about?
He did not produce a ticket. He did something called screenshot. He did not post on his website the ticket itself that shows the agency from which the ticket was purchased, the ticket number, the agent, the telephone number, contact number. So these things can be verified. He's the light. These things should be able to be verifiable. He says that he's all about transparency and accountability. If this was the case, there should be no problem. I would have sent a copy, the actual copy of the ticket, to the press and give it to them so we can lay this to rest once and for all.
Well, Mr. Dillon he posted something on Facebook. I saw his name on it, and you think that is not the real deal?
Yes, when we talk about screenshot, anybody can screenshot anything and send it out. Okay, when you are saying that you purchased the ticket.
So how did he get his name on that ticket then?
Oh, when anything can be photoshopped. I didn't say he do that, but there's a possibility that is possible. If I were Darius Dillon, I would send my confidant, my office staff, to the travel agency. Carry the newspaper with me like he always does. Carry the press with you. This is my ticket. This is my receipt. This is my invoice. This is where I went. This is when I'm coming back. And let it be clear. But the question here is, when we talk about integrity, which is one of the things that he prides himself on, why will someone take a picture that he claimed to not be legitimate, or that is actually, he may think that it is false perception, but there were no caption on that photograph that said, I'm only passing, I'm a passerby, and I'm just taking picture to see how first class looks like, or I'm talking to somebody to see how they feel, how the first class feel. He never did that. So now he's going back in retrospect to correct what he did, he felt was wrong. It is just not right. The gentleman is not credible.
Mr. Gayman, let me bring your attention to something else. I saw another post by the senator and he was specific, talking to a gentleman who having to be his supporter, but always make sure to hold him accountable. And in his post, he said, well, some people try to, I'm paraphrasing here, that people try to decide what clothes I should buy, what food I should eat. This suggests to me that Senator Dillon is feeling unfairly criticized by many people, or being singled out by Liberians from all walks of life. Don't you think Senator Dillon has a point here, because he's not the only senator?
Well, you see, the difference between Senator Dillon and everybody else is when you go into a town, those of us who were born in a village, and you call yourself the witch doctor, or you are the guy who's going to set the sasawu. We should try it by ordeal. The guy who sets the sasawu is the ultimate judge jury, and executioner. Whatever he says goes. So he is basically the purest of the pure. So when Mr. Dillon presented himself, that everybody in the Senate were corrupt and spineless, and he, the purest thing, was coming to town to actually claim. In fact, his own cousin or his brother, Costa, said it. He said, I know 10 Dara Dillons will not do any difference, but I want you to eat his share of the money. Dara Dillon responded and said, you'd be surprised what the will of one person can do. One person can change a whole lot of other folks. Based on that, the Liberian people put their trust in him. So we were hoping that this one light will illuminate the entire Senate. And by design, the lower house or the House of Representatives, as well as the executive. But here we are. The senator got $15,000 under the table. He said, the Liberian people are saying that was theft. They stole the money.
Mr. Gayman, what do you mean by under the table? It was in the budget. So I don't know your definition, or what do you mean by under the table? Are you saying the senator got money under the table? What do you mean by that?
Well, listen, in my district here, whenever there's a budgetary argument in the Senate or in the district, my district rep or my senator come into our district and educate us. We have something called town hall meeting where we discuss the issues, items by items. We discuss what is coming to our district, what is it bringing to our district. We discuss all of that. I have not seen the last time that Darius Dillon, I know nobody else does that, but since he was going into the Senate to bring these things to light, we expected him to come to Monserrato, have a town hall meeting, and say, ladies and gentlemen, this is our budget. This is a new budget. Since I got there, this is what is there. Since I went to cut the pork, these are where I have cut the pork. I said we were going to spend our money in healthcare. I cut pork from here and I put it here.
But Mr. Gayman, others are saying, to Senator Dillon's credit, he was the one who broke this news to the public, honoring his word to the Liberian people that if anything out of the ordinary, I will bring it to your attention. That is how we got to know today. So is he not the people's senator?
Listen, his supporters want to say that. They want to gloss over the fact. It sounds to me like Jesse James, somebody who robbed a bank and say, this guy who robbed the bank broad daylight with gun. And the guy who transferred the money, one is called an embezzler and one is called a crook. The white collar crime, because he did it by means of using the instrument available to the bank and to him. The people say he did it a civilized way. So then he is not a crook. But the guy who came into the bank with a gun and took the same amount of money, he is a crook. Or let's put it another way. A man who comes into the bank at night, into the vault and stole $15,000, that man is guilty. Dara Dillon is saying, I stole $15,000, but I did it broad daylight, so it's different. The guy who stole it at night is a bad guy. At least I stole it when everybody was looking. That is the analogy he's trying to make here, and we are not buying that.
Mr. Gayman?
By any other name, whether you put it in the budget, whether you change the nomenclature from legislative engagement to legislative projects, from legislative project to legislative engagement, this is the first time it has happened. And it happened when Dara Dillon got there. So what we are saying here is, if Dara Dillon, he admitted himself that in the past 3 years, this thing has not been in the budget. But this is the first year that it is there. So this is Dara Dillon's first full budgetary allotment. And he allowed it to happen.
Mr. Gayman, yes. Mr. Gayman, let me hold you there. Many people know you to be a sedition. So it's obvious that you will pull on this critical posture of criticism of Senator Darius Dillon. But let me bring your attention to something you said earlier. Paying attention to you here. Mm-hmm. You accused the senator of, along with Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, that they have come to America together for them to merrymake, just paraphrasing you here. What is the evidence that is the reason that these are senators that represent their respective people and they have come apparently to lobby for them? But you are saying they took 15K and they have come to America to go on shopping spree. Is that, how can that be true anyway?
Well, let's look at Senator Nyobli Kanga Lawrence. I think this afternoon or yesterday she posted on her Facebook page that the government is about to be locked down and that people should start hoarding. Go to the market, buy all the bitter ball, all the pepper, all the oil, all the rice you can get, and stock them at home because doomsday is coming. Within a few days, the government is going to be locked down, and I'm doing due diligence. I'm telling my
Mr.
folks,
Gayman, the senator did not say doomsday coming. She
no,
was just trying.
No,
she was just trying. Hold on, Mr. Gayman.
No,
she was just trying to alert citizens that she represents and the country that, hey, the epidemic is serious. It's best that you get some food items because there's a possible lockdown so that you can have some food while you are at home. And you call that she's preaching doomsday message? This is not realistic.
Well, no, it is. The question here is, where is the senator when she's making these pronouncements? If you are a warrior, if you are a general, and you go into war, where should you be? You should be on the battlefield. You cannot be 10,000, 5,000, 15,000 miles away, sitting in the comfort of Pennsylvania, and you're telling the poor people in Liberia to use whatever means necessary to hoard, to collect food and store them. In the meantime, she's not there. She is not appropriating money for the folks. She's not fighting for, if the country is locked down, how would these people sustain themselves? What should the government be doing at this point? As a senior senator, what is she doing for her people of Grand Bassa County, just in case the country is locked down? Instead, she's here in the comfort of the United States, enjoying herself, and then telling the folks back there, basically, you are on your own. If you don't have enough rice, if you don't have enough chicken, if you don't have enough gari, you are going to be dead, basically, because she said doomsday is 3 days from now. The government is going to shut the country down. That's what she says.
Mr. Gayman, you have been so critical on these two senators. What's about your own party senators? The CDC has senators in the House, both houses, so to speak. What do you have to say about them?
Name me one senator from the CDC that is here, and I will address that.
What difference does that make?
It makes a difference because you were elected by your constituents. You were elected by the people to represent them. Now, I know that they are government officials over here. For instance, Honorable McGill is here. McGill has been here for the past 3 weeks. He came in. This is something that was scheduled a year ago. So he has to.
And so why can't McGill return to the country?
Oh, but we knew very well why he was coming. McGill was coming on issues that was planned a year ago, and he carried out. He will soon be on his way.
And you think Senator Dillon's and Senator Lawrence's trips were not planned too?
Senator Lawrence, Senator Dillon, these are people that were elected by their people. If there's an emergency, they have the right to turn right around and go. Honorable McGill served at the will and pleasure of the president. If the president sent him on a mission, when mission is accomplished, he goes home. Other than that, he served directly for the president.
Are you suggesting that McGill is not accountable to the Liberian people, but he only accountable to one man?
We have a chain of command in the country. The chain of command says the man is the chief of staff for the president's office. Who does he listen to? Who does he make report to? He makes report to the president, the office of the president. That's his job. In extension, yes, if he makes his report to the president, since the president was elected by the people, he is in essence making report to the people. But he worked directly for the president. If the president wants him to leave New York today and go to Moscow to represent him there or to deliver a message, he has to do that. That's his job. And
So
that
are you
one is a very easy one.
suggesting, Mr. Gayman, Mange is stay here in the midst of this pandemic that is taking lives away in our country because President Weah said he should stay here? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
What I'm saying here is that whatever the mission is, when the mission is accomplished, the president will say, for instance, if he was to go by July 7th, and the president said, I need you back in Liberia July 1st, he will go immediately because that's the mandate. This gentleman had few things to do. The last time I spoke to him, he was in a conference where they were talking about oxygen, they were talking about, you name it, things that Liberia need. We talk about testing kit, we talk about rapid testing, we talk about more vaccines. All of those things are things that the Secretary, the Minister of State is working on. And if you read the paper today in Liberia, you will find out that these things are bearing fruit. So McGill is doing an excellent job here. When the president wants him to leave a balance ship, he will leave it. But first now he is actually on a mission, and he was dedicated by the president to do so.
So you think different. So you think Minister Mange should stay in the US, he should not go to Liberia?
He shouldn't go to Liberia until his mission is accomplished. If his mission was a 2-week mission, he has to accomplish those missions. If it was 3 weeks, he has to. He is working directly, like I say, at the will and pleasure of the president. Darius Dillon and Yobli Kanga were elected by the people to represent their interests. I don't know what is the interest of the Bassa people now in the legislature.
Mr. Gayman, will you like to see Senator Dillon and Senator Lawrence return to Liberia because of this pandemic to provide leadership?
Immediately. Their people need them. If you go to Grand Bassa County, my hometown, folks today, in fact, yesterday, the superintendent of the county, who is also a member of the Bassa Legislative Caucus, were all by himself when he had a news conference about the protocol and the enforcement and everything else that has to do with the Bassa people. There were no senators around. There were no Nyobli Kanga, who was supposed to be the leader of the women's movement.
Mr. Gayman, that will answer my question. My next question is, hold on, Mr. Gayman, that answers my question. You are saying they should return immediately to the people they represent. Where is President Weah as we speak?
Dr. Weah is in France. Dr. Weah received an invitation a month ago from the French government to discuss issues pertaining to the female issues. We are talking about issues that have been around. We have been talking about rape. We are also talking about issues with the issue in Mali. You know, Liberia has a contingency of army in
Mr. Gayman, don't you think President Weah could have sent a representative, like maybe the gender minister, to represent him or any other person in the government, and that he could stay in the country given the seriousness of this killer virus that our people are combating?
Listen, a state visit. The president of France cannot talk bilateral conversation with the Minister of Gender. We are talking about—
Why not?
We are talking about the war in Mali. We are talking about strategy of the war in Mali.
Mr. Gayman, my question is why not? Why can a designated person from the president of Liberia cannot talk to the president of France on any other matter? Why not?
Because it is a presidential bilateral conversation. The president cannot have a conversation that has to do with war declaration, has to do with international or warring factions, and discuss that with the gender minister. But
Mr. Gayman, I thought we have a minister of foreign affairs. Don't you think the chief diplomat of the country can represent Liberia?
But if you notice, the foreign minister is also on this particular trip. He's going to be having also bilateral conversation.
So the president could have stayed home, right?
No.
To address the seriousness of this killer virus.
The president is making the case. In fact, as we speak, who is capable and has the authority to speak to the world about our needs and our suffering. And the president is on this trip to actually make the case directly to our French partners that, listen, this virus is killing my folks. I need help. I need us to put most of the other things we were talking about on the back burner and take on the issues of this virus in my country. Nobody can make that case.
Mr. Gayman, I'm going to hold you there because I see something. This is why you the party people do, right? You are saying Senator Dillon and Senator Lawrence should return to Liberia with immediacy because of the killer virus that is killing people today. But when it comes to President Weah, who is also an elected official, you are saying he should go to France. That is more important than the people of Liberia. How is that not hypocrisy on your part?
No, that is not hypocrisy, my friend. I am telling you, the urgency of what's happening in Liberia now, nobody can make that case forcefully to the international community as the father of the nation. The feminist in chief, Dr. George Manning Weah, he's the one that can make that case for Liberia that, listen, Mr. Macron, President Macron, my folks are dying. I am here to tell you the gravity of what's happening in Liberia. We need you to bring as much to the table as you can. And if possible, bring the whole European Union with you. This is the place of the president. That's what he does. At this critical juncture, when Ebola came to Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf got on the phone and called every president that she could and wrote and put an SOS call and said, I need help. The president was in transit when this happened, and I think he's
Mr. Gayman, Mr. Gayman, the war has advanced. Let me hold you there, sir. The war has advanced. This pandemic is like no other, especially the Delta variant. The scientists are telling us this one is the most dangerous of all. President Weah could take a phone call to his counterpart and say, hey, I have a killer virus ravishing here in my country, so I'm sending my representatives to represent me. He could talk to him on the phone. He could get whatever that he will need. And it will happen because he's giving the seriousness that is required, providing the necessary leadership for this pandemic, which is more important to President Weah right now. The safety of his people or photo ops at a main conference. Which one?
My friend, this is international diplomacy. We are talking about bringing home the bacon. The last time President Weah visited Macron, we saw what happened after the country was left broke, when there were no money to pay staff, where they couldn't make payroll. President Weah took a trip to France, and the rest is history.
And what did we get?
Few weeks, where the first trip he went on before he left, he came home. At least we had $10 million, 10 million euros to help with payroll.
That was promised. Did we receive that money?
Yes, we received that.
We did not get that money.
We received that money, and they were followed by another $5 million. The records are there. Now let's look at.
So, Mr. Gayman, what you say is that because of a 10 million, be it 50 million, you know, President Weah should care less about what's going on in Liberia. Let him just pay a few millions, and the problem will be solved. That's what I'm hearing from you.
President Weah is killing 10 birds with one stone. He's going to speak to the president. He also took his minister of foreign affairs that will also be talking with the foreign minister of France that just visited us in Paris, and they are going to continue the bilateral agreement and other things that we are asking for. We are taking the minister agenda that will be talking about issues of women. The first lady is going to join them there because also she's also doing a lot for children, for girls. So all of these things are going to be discussed. We also took defense. We took defense because the war that is going on in Mali, who is in the best position that have the wherewithal, that have the logistics to talk about engagement. Mr. That Gayman. Person is the chief of staff. All of these things are things that are happening in one shot, one group of folks, one mission, accomplish all of this. President Weah should be accommodated.
Mr. Gayman, let me fit there. I heard you. You make your point. Let come to Dillon and Senator Lawrence again, and there's a reason I'm coming back. In your opinion, given what you said, that they are not providing leadership in the midst of this killer disease, they abandon their people, will you say they are bad goose for the country or the people they represent?
I made this clear before the elections. The folks are saying, I think it was Mr. Cummings that said future performance should be based on past performance. He said that, and I'm not making this up. I made it clear. I've been on record. I told the Bassa people not to re-elect Nyobli Kanga, despite her plea that she's the only woman we're trying to kick her out. I told the Bassa people that she was inept, and I showed the Liberian people, the Bassa people, her 9 years record in the state, in the House, in the Senate.
Mr. Gayman, are you saying Senator Dillon and Senator Lawrence are bad goods for the people they represent?
Not just bad goods, but damaged goods. They are not good for the county. For the county they represent, and it's very obvious.
And one of the reasons you are saying this is because they have left the country in the midst of a killer virus. They have traveled and they're in comfort. That is one of the reasons why you are saying they are not only bad goods, but they are contaminated goods. Okay, damaged goods. So let's use that same yardstick that you are using. One of your reasons is because they left their people to represent during in the midst of this killer virus. President Weah has done the same thing. Don't you think President Weah can also be should also be classified as a dangerous goose, bad goose?
No.
Why not?
President Weah is going on a bilateral conference. Tell me, I just gave you the scenario. I just gave you the protocol of everything that the president is doing. Tell me why did Nyobli Kanga and Darius Dillon come to the United States? Tell me, are there any reasons? Are there anything to the press that say I am going to meet with DuPont on the 5th of July, and we are going to be talking about chemical coming to Liberia? Can Nyobli Kanga tell you I will be in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? We are talking about steel manufacturing in Bassa. That's what I'm here. Can she tell you that? Have she done that? No. But I can tell you that the president is going to meet with President Macron, and they are going to be talking about this issue. When you look on the presidential website, the e-mansion website, you have the protocol, you have the itinerary of the president. Where are the itinerary of the senator that we are talking for Grand Bassa County and the senator from Montserrat County? Where are the itinerary? Why is it that we can verify? I think Mr. Dillon said he will come and meet with his constituent, his supporters in the United States. That's what he said. He said in Washington, D.C. This is his own writing.
All right, Mr. Gayman, let's come to something else here. Time is of the essence. Let's come to something else here, and that is you were filming about Dillon, whether he flew first class or not, why he even had to take picture of the first class cabin and all that. So you are in essence saying Dillon should not even be doing that, at least before we can talk about flying first class. Did President Weah fly first class?
President, we are supposed to fly first class. He's the president. The president, because of his security,
I thought he was pro president, and so he should live pro. So what is pro about flying first class, Mr. Gayman?
The president, the security of the state, the head of state, the security of the president has and requires that he rise first class protected. He is the father of the country.
So it's okay for President Weah to fly first class, not okay for Dillon?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, Dillon made it clear. He said he could fly first class if he chose to because he's using his own money. That's what he said. But we don't know whether Jadara is using his own money because as far as I'm concerned, if he's on our government payroll and he's being paid to work, he is on our payroll.
President Weah is on the government payroll too, don't you think so?
The president just gave you his itinerary. Where he's at, he's working for the government. He's working for our people.
So his itinerary excuses him for whatever money he might have spent for the first class.
The president, as the president of a nation, you and I know that we're all being comical. Yes, the president has the right to fly in comfort and in security. That is the president of a nation. In other nations, I'm not comparing with the United States, but the United States will come. Air Force One is going to land in Monrovia if it could, and that's how it works.
Mr. Gayman,
works reserved for the presidency. That's correct.
Mr. Gayman, the president is the one who is preaching proper. Now, you said, because he flew first class does not mean that he's not proper. Let's talk about the delegation. We
Mm-hmm.
heard reports about from 35 to 37 persons. Look at
Mm-hmm.
that huge number of
Mm-hmm.
persons. And we also heard that over 90,000 United States dollars is
Mm-hmm.
being spent, and that the president is netting $2,000 a day for per diem. That is minus hotels and other amenities. How is that also proper, Mr. Gayman?
Well, you see, my friend, I think this morning I have my friend Eugene Namwe on one of the shows in Monrovia. He said, the media, people like you who are the media practitioner, we will expect that when these rumors come out, that you will have the facts. I think when you go to the E-Mansion website, the president itinerary is there, and the delegation that go with the president are all present. They are
But we
total
didn't
of
see the budget. We didn't
they
see
are,
the budget.
don't listen to it. There are a total of 14 people that will be joining the president. 14. I don't know
Okay.
where they got 37 from. I have no clue. But that is what propagandists do. The president delegation in total will be 13 to be joined by the first lady. The first lady is already outside the country. We'll be joining them. That would make it 14.
And don't
Does
you
it?
think 14 is even too much, Mr. Gayman?
No, it's not at all. When you are talking about, we are talking about bilateral agreement, we are talking about defense, we are talking about education, we're talking about gender, we are talking about the pandemic. When you are talking about defense, when we are talking about the war in Mali, when the chief of staff comes, do you expect the chief of staff to just come by himself? No, he brings pertinent people in his delegation that are expert, that have expertise in other areas.
I
The
thought you
minister,
said this, Mr. President is the chief diplomat. He is the guy who is the good negotiator. I mean, can the president be able to talk about multiple things to save
listen,
money
no, that no.
during this pandemic?
Mr. Sieh, that's not how it works. I am a CEO of my company. When I'm going to represent my company, when we talk about budgeting, I take my office manager, I take my auditor, I take my bookkeeper, I take my accountant. When they are talking about auditing issues, even though I'm the CEO, I am not cloth with the credential to talk about auditing. I will point to my auditor. He's going to say this. In fact, one of the
Mr.
questions
Gayman,
was,
you know these kind of meetings are just routine meetings. People just discuss things on the surface. At the end of the day, the details are ironed out with the able lieutenants later on. So we are talking about pandemic here. We're trying to save money. There's no money in the country. The government will tell us, and they are spending all this money. Is netting $2,000 a day for per diem and drinking champagne. Is that proper, Mr. Gayman?
listen, you want to drink palm wine?
Why not?
The president is a guest.
Is the president
Of
not qualified to drink? Or is he too good to drink palm wine?
palm wine is not the national champagne, it's not the national drink of France. If you came to Liberia and you went to Bassa, yes, you went to Monrovia, you can drink. President Weah can offer you and myself palm wine. But when you are in France or you are in the United States, you drink the drink of the nation. We are not sure whether they're drinking palm wine or they're drinking champagne because this is something that you came up with. I know you don't have any proof, but that's what you are saying because it exudes exuberance, it exudes luxury. No, that is not the case. I can't speak to that because I do not have definitive
Mr.
proof.
Gayman, will we
But I
ever see
know,
the budget of this trip to be
excuse
made
me?
public to the media for us to have it so that people will not have to speculate?
Oh, but this is what the light was all about. The light was supposed to be who to be shining the light on this so we can see how much the president is spending. Isn't
I
that what
don't
the light is
think
supposed
it's
to
the
do?
long responsibility to disclose the president's budget on the trip that he makes.
Oh, but listen, the president, the opposition, their job is to hold the president's feet and to be transparent, bring some transparency to the issue. He said that's what he was going to do. He has not even done transparency on himself. We don't know who paid for his ticket, how long he's been here, where he's staying. All of these
So,
places
Gayman,
in the past 2 weeks.
don't you think the finance ministry should release the budget of this trip to us so that they all speculation will come to an end? Don't you think so?
Oh, we have the budget. You want it, they can send it to you.
Do I have to ask for it before they inform me,
It's
inform
public.
millions of
Listen,
Liberians?
the
Do
whole
we
thing
have
is,
to always
listen,
ask?
we have the Public Information Act. You are a journalist. You have the right to request for any information. It's in plain view. Just do the request. You got to be office there. You got a capable office. Just call or write the Minister of Finance and say, I need the budget. I need every trip. And you can put them in order chronologically, and you will get how much it costs the president to travel. Not only that, but what do we get in return? I can spend $500,000 go on a trip and bring back $20 million. That means that trip is worth it. So when you are asking for the particular cost of a trip for the president to go, ask him in return, what is it that we get in return? Let him give you so you can juxtapose the two. But I think the president travel was minuscule compared, because I know I have friends that were working in the previous government, and this president travel is minuscule compared to what has happened in the past 12 years prior to us coming to power.
Thank you so very much, folks in cyberspace. You are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program on point, always hosted here by Mr. Jerome Gayman. His partner, Mr. Tule, is not in, so I joined in today to ask him. They have questions, and I will not stop giving him these beta balls until I get the truth out of him. But what I see is dancing around the subject. The standard is different from the opposition folks. It's different from his side. I see why these politicians, the apologists, these surrogates, I know what they do, and that is why I always push them until I get the facts out of them. Folks, let us come to something else, Mr. Gayman. The pandemic. Now that all the leaders, let me not say all these leaders, some of the leaders have left. Dillon, Nyambly, the president, the guy who they say he's for the people, he too left the people. Let's talk about how is our government handling this pandemic. Mr. Gayman, question. Has the government handled the virus responsibly? Where is the leadership of President Weah in the fight against this virus?
I think the government is doing an excellent job when it comes to the virus. I think they took a page out of Florida, my home state, and the home state of Dr. George Martin Weah. You know, both of us are from South Florida, so we know how the place works. Obviously, I know you're going to say that we are a red state, we are a Republican state, but we believe in commerce, and we believe that commerce and the people's right to survive and live can coexist. We can do this. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think the first time when the president locked down the country and shut down all businesses and shut down schools, I think it was at the detriment of the people. I think this time around they are splitting it in two. They are telling our staff, wherever you work, we are going to cut back on staffing by 50%. We are not going to close down schools because the future is on the line. We are going to ask the teacher to space out the children. We are asking commerce. We are asking taxi driver. We are asking pimping boys to help in this case. Wear your mask. Reduce your carrying load. We do not want to shut the entire economy down. We do not want to shut the entire country down while our partners, our bilateral partners, our international partners are coming to our aid. I think this is the right way to go. And I'm very much encouraged this time because I just spoke to my families in Bassa, and they themselves are saying, this one, we are not fooling around with it. This is not like the first time where people said government was doing this to grab money.
Mr. Gayman, all you're telling me is that,
so the
Mr. Gayman, all I'm hearing from
job.
you, hold on, Mr. Gayman, all I'm hearing from you, the people of Liberia are taking precaution. They are taking matters into their own hand. They are taking responsibility. They are taking charge of their own safety. That's all I'm hearing from you. What I was asking, where is the presidential leadership? The whole fight now is about vaccine. I've not heard where our government has made funds available to buy vaccine for its citizens. What I see is a government making a budget to give money to lawmakers. I see a government making money available for president to go do photo shoot along with 14 people. If your number is correct, where is the leadership?
The leadership is intact. If you read the press release from Letcherwood running today or yesterday, it lays out specifically how the government is handling what is happening. We are telling the folks that number one, the proposed agenda, if you can see the pillar number one, that is power to the people. And what is it that this government is doing at this point? The massive public awareness from every government agency, from the county administrator down to the elementary school teacher. This is what we are doing. This is what the science says we should do. And this is how we should do it. The government this time around is doing that. The government is actually letting people know that we are getting about additional 90,000 shots that will be given to the people that is coming into the country. We are also asking for 290,000 extra instant rapid tests. So people are being encouraged to get tested. And when you are tested and found positive, they will isolate you medically so the issue can be dealt with. These are things that we didn't do at first. We closed all borders to those countries that have been identified by the World Health Organization: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. We have shut our borders down to these folks. They are not going to enter the country. Those who are here will be monitored, and those who are found to be infected will be isolated. These are all government
Mr.
actions.
Gayman, I don't want you to forget I don't want you to forget the second half of my question, talking about vaccine. Has the government purchased vaccine for its people?
Yes.
How many?
I just told you it may not be. I would prefer that we buy 5 million doses of vaccine that will give every man, woman, and child in the country a vaccination shot. But
and why has that not happened?
That is not realistic, because if we have 5 million, all 5 million are not adults. The 5 million include babies, include children. So we have to do that. But would I like to see more? Yes. 90,000 doses of new vaccine in addition to what we have, to me, is a right step in the right direction. 90,000 doses, that's a lot of doses in addition to what we have.
Mr. Gayman, I'm curious here. This one might be a piece of pawpaw for you. There has been this narrative, and it's not only in Liberia. To those listening to us, many African governments have been accused that they have been inflating the numbers of COVID cases to secure funding from donor countries and donor partners. For your piece of pawpaw, don't you think this is the case here, or this one is different? It's serious now. The government not inflating any numbers here?
Well, they may have done it in Kenya, they may have done it in Guinea and several, but not like President George Manneh. We would never do that, as evidenced by Senator Nyobli Kanga's SOS to the Bassa people or to the Liberian people. This thing is for real. Buy, storage, keep, and hoard. They call it hoarding here. Bring all your stuff, put them indoor. Like the former, chairman of the CPP, Mr. Comey said, when President Weah made a comment that those who can afford it, we should invest in CCTV, help reduce crime and everything else. And he came on national TV and said, the president said, you should shut your door. Crimes is on the rampant. They will kill you. 6 o'clock, lock your door and don't come outside.
Mr. Gayman, you are trying to spin that.
It's the same thing here. Nyobli Kanga is saying the same thing. Buy your rice and oil, put them in the house. Don't come outside because the country is coming to shut down. They're doing this. So this is the strategy of the CPP or the opposition. Well, the critics, I'd like to maybe change the word from opposition to the critics. But this time around, our critic vindicated us. She knows the importance because she sits on these emergency national council, sitting there with the president. She knows that. She knows she's looking at the numbers. The numbers
knows it, and she's telling the people, get some food. A lockdown is coming, and you are saying she shouldn't be saying that.
There is no lockdown coming. We are telling our folks what is obtaining on the ground. We are telling the Liberian people this time around, we are not going to lock down to say stay home until this thing passes over, but we have learned a lot from the previous pandemic. We are saying this is the way to go, and if we all work together, this one shall pass as well.
Mr. Gayman, has the president taken a vaccine? Do you know?
I don't know if the president has taken his vaccine, and I would suggest that all government officials, from the president down to all teachers, they should take their vaccine in public to give the public confidence. I was skeptical myself in the United States, and that's why I was very, very careful with the type of vaccine that I took. And I took the Pfizer.
You are fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated, but not in a vaccination. I took the Pfizer 1 and 2. I didn't take the Johnson & Johnson, and I did definitely not as Zaneca and others. It's not even in the country, but I wouldn't even take that. But I took the Pfizer because my doctor, after being very, very skeptical over and over, he has showed me that you got to go with the Pfizer, and I went with the Pfizer.
So, Mr. Gayman, at long last, you took the vaccine. The president has not.
I'm not saying the president has not.
I'm saying the president has not. The president has not taken a vaccine. You have taken a vaccine.
Yes.
Do you see that as a lack of leadership on the part of the president for not being an example here?
It's not lack of leadership on the side of the president or Dara Dillon or Nyobli Kanga. I don't know whether they have all taken theirs or have not taken it. I won't be surprised that they came over here to take the Pfizer instead of the Zeneca or whatever that is coming from Europe. So they may have chosen to take the brand that we don't have in Liberia. I don't think we have the Pfizer in Liberia. So they may have chosen to take the Pfizer. But I would suggest that all government officials, if this thing is serious, and you say the vaccine is safe, I think we all should take our vaccination publicly for the public to see. If it's good for them, it should be good for us.
Mr. Gayman, the president has not taken the vaccine, and that is not exemplary leadership. You think the president is in any moral position to advise anybody to take the vaccine?
The president's job is to get the information from the World Health Organization, trust the science, and pass it on to our folks. He has done that. I don't know whether the president has taken his shot or he has not taken his shot. I am asking all government officials, if we trust that the vaccine is safe for the average person, then we all should take it publicly. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. Folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program On Point. I'm Ansony Sieh, questioning Mr. Jerome, the host of this program On Point. Josh Kalentule, his partner, is not here, and so I'm trying to fill in here. We will take a very, very short break. When we come back, we will read your comments. Folks, we will take a break. We will be back. Rabbi, that break will be very short. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll read your comments so that Mr. Jerome Gayman can get a little break because I can see he's sweating.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Ansony Sieh, joining Mr. Jerome Gayman, the host of On Point here at Focus on Liberia. And I'm trying to give him some political beta boss here. It's obvious that the fact that he's in Florida, where it's always hot, he must be sweating. He is doing his thing here. Let's get to some comments here, folks. I see that a lot of you have contributed here. We'll see if we can get to as many as we can. This is from CFR, senior right. You are campaigning for ADD. I don't know He might be talking to somebody. Remember, George said he was going to take the Liberian people from poverty. I don't know if he's there yet. President Weah has the right then to fly private planes. Someone writes that. Earlier from Martin Brown here, Mr. Gayman. Even when DeLong posts his receipt of the ticket, you will still have problem. Your mind is completely made of Gayman. He is a human like anyone else. Hope your critical view about DeLong can be holistic. Somebody is trying to tell you to be balanced and fair. Witton Keller writes, one can buy any economy class ticket. When he or she gets on the plane and decides to change to first class, that could be done by paying extra amount. Now, yeah, from Musa Kroma, he does not know honor. He doesn't know honor the tablet. I don't know what that means. Let me progress here. Let's hear from Mr. Brown here again. Mr. Gayman will not dare criticize President Weah for flying private jet. When last have you raised concern about the private jet? I will let to get your response on that one later on when we're done reading this comment, Mr. Gayman. Let's hear from George Senior. Sir, Mr. Dillon never said he will never fly first class. My question is, what wrong with someone flying first class if he can afford? I think this discussion should be why he's leaving his country when his people are dying. And I think we asked that question. Let's hear from Mr. Mason here. You are a crook because from your youth, you had not done anything for Liberian. Oh, I will leave that one there. Someone is fighting with somebody, I believe. Let me see here. What about money, yo? I don't know. I don't know what's about money. That was from Seattle Townsend there. She is an ardent follower and supporter of Focus on Liberia. Let me see here. Yeah, this one. She is wrong. Weah is wrong. Dillon is wrong. I call all elected officials to return home immediately. This is a crisis, and I think she is very strong with that statement, and I'm with her 100%. Yeah, from Besson Mason. Mr. Gayman, why do you hold Senator Dillon and Lawrence at a higher moral standard than the others? Somebody is asking that question, and I will let you to respond to that too later on. Yeah, from Lowentha, sorry, I'm butchering your name here. These are some of the sedition that gave a bad taste in the mouth most Liberian for the CDC government. I hope I read that right. Let me make progress here. A lot of comments. Seattle again, this is a good one. She said, we are talking about crisis, a deadly epidemic sweeping through the country. President Weah can reschedule. Macron will understand, and Macron will certainly understand. Only Mr. Gayman does not understand, but he will have the opportunity to respond. That year from Rachel Sano Brown Sherry, I hope he is listening to what he's saying. He is a serious joker. I don't know who is that joker. Let's hear from this writer. Let's hear from David Sona. Just take the E from your name. We are, oh, no. Let me leave this comment again. This is a responsible platform, man. I mean, it's your right to write whatever you write, but we have asked you to be, much more thoughtful here. Anthony Kofa, right? Mr. Gayman, don't waste your time. This host is a opposition. I think he meant to say an opposition. He lied just like then. When the president didn't go to France, they sit and criticize. Now he's on his way. They have, oh no, you don't use that kind of word here. You don't use that kind of word. You can say that without saying those things. Let's hear from Abbott here. Or Abbott rather. Seriously, you're comparing the president with the senator, and you live in the United States, sir. You the one that should educate our people. I'm sorry, sir, but I am ashamed of you, sir. I'm asking question, and he said he's ashamed. He want me to give me Kool-Aid. I don't have Kool-Aid in my fridge. All I have there is nothing but bitter ball. Let's hear from James Keller. Now, the host. Now, the host, no clue about government. Maybe you meant to say that the host had no clue about government. Yeah, I don't have any clue about government. Give me some clues so I can learn. Uh, Let me leave that one. Let me come to this one. A lot of comments here, Mr. Gayman, but we'll take a break on them here. Let's hear from Danny SK or Kaka. I hope I pronounced that well. Where is the public awareness that you are talking about, Mr. Gayman? Is it in the dream? He's asking that question. Let's hear from Chris Gay. Good question, but it remains to be answered. Even in America, people, I think Metro said people have misunderstanding for the vaccine. Oh, Mr. Gayman, let's leave it there. Just few comments. I want to hear your response to those comments that I just read.
Well, our friend Sieh, I think she has a point. If and this is all about leadership style. If she was the president of Liberia, or any leadership position in Liberia, she suggests that everybody return home because this is a crisis. I think it makes sense. It makes sense for those who, in the United States, usually when these things happen, we say non-critical staff will return or stay home. Non-critical staff. That's the operative word in the United States, and I think the same thing in Liberia. Non-critical staff. So those people, like at this time where the Senate is not in session and nothing is happening, I think the non-critical staff, like the senators and these people, should be into the various constituencies. In fact, the money they got, the 15,000 or 30,000, depending on to whom you speak, the 30,000 they got, they changed the nomenclature from government project to legislative engagement. So they got the $30,000. Are they engaging in Grand Bassa County or Montserrat? No, they are here in the United States. So those are the people that need to return to Liberia and go do what they said they were doing. The reason they got the $15,000 or $30,000 to engage their constituents. Like you said, rightfully said, there is a crisis in the country. These people should be in their different districts, their different counties, educating and informing them. That's what engagement is all about. Not leaving and coming to the United States, sitting here drinking champagne, like my brother said. You go to Starbucks and you out there drinking the more expensive coffee, and you telling the folks back home to buy more palm oil and rice and hide it because the world is going to be shut down on Wednesday. That's ludicrous.
All right, Mr. Gayman, let's get this one. Mr. Gayman is really something else. He never sees anything wrong with CDC. Mr. Gayman Manasali did similar thing during the Ebola crisis, and she designated VP Bwaka to represent her in the United States for God's sake. Why President Weah can't do likewise?
Yeah, Mr. Brown, I mean, you are right. We're talking about leadership style. The president of Liberia at the time, she asked Dr. Joseph Boyka or Ambassador Boyka or VP Boyka to represent her. This time, this president is a hands-on person. He likes to do things. He likes to get results done. Like you said in his inaugural speech, he says, I will speak less and do more. I'm a hands-on person. This is the exact replica of the person that spoke that day. This is the president that likes to see deliverable and outcome. That's why he's doing it himself. He's a hands-on person, and I applaud him for that.
And then this is from Marianne Roberts. So, Liberia president refused to take his coronavirus vaccine in Liberia, but he's taking it in France. She's wondering.
Well, it is for now, it's all conjecture, it's all gossip, it's all guessing. Most people are saying that Dara Dilo and Yobli Kanga are here to take the Pfizer vaccine virus, the viral vaccine here. So is that true? I have no proof until somebody takes picture of them taking it. Someone told me that all the government officials that are here, they're leaving the country to take their vaccine overseas because they don't want to take the vaccine that is coming from Europe. They rather take the one coming from America. And if so, hey, if you can afford it, that's why those are some of the perks that come with the territory. But at least they should be open, and they should be lobbying with the United States, that we have the Pfizer vaccine in Liberia, rather than the one that's coming from Europe that was accused of blood clot and death. So we're not saying that's what's happening, but I think they should be lobbying with the United States more to have the Pfizer vaccine in Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. Folks are watching us here at Focus on Liberia this evening at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time. I will be back here and I will present to you the rise and fall of Eugene Lamin Fagon. Mr. Fagon is the former Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. He has been fired by President Weah, and I will be giving a chronological rise and fall of Mr. Eugene Lamin Fagon. You do not want to miss this program right here at Focus on Liberia, starting 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Will be a night edition of the Hour of Politics. You don't want to miss it. I've done my research. I will give it to you like nobody. It will be analytical from start to end. I remember when he started, and at some point he moved into his African store, and at some point we saw him with a marker writing on the board when he was preaching cartel. And we remember, I don't want to give all that to you. Wait for it. 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time, live right here at Focus on Liberia, on the Hour of Politics with me, Ansony, Sieh, your humble servant. You do not want to miss it. Mr. Gayman, we will be looking at the rise and fall of Mr. Fagon. Let's talk on that so that we can close your time is fast spent. He has been fired. Some people think he's coming back. What do you think?
Well, Mr. Sieh, thank you very much for my partisan, the noble voice of the people, Mr. Fagon. We can't go too much into it because I know you got a package and I will be tuned in, and I can't wait because you always have something in your bag of tricks.
Yeah.
When we think we know it all, you pull something out. So this is going to be educational and it's going to be very fascinating. But the gentleman is fascinating. He's a gentleman that has, like Joseph the Dreamer, he's a coat of many colors. Mm-hmm. So like you say, the rise and fall, and we look forward to seeing. I think it's going to be great. Liberians should turn in. I think I'm going to tune in, and I'm going to forward to every friend that I have, and we're going to be commenting. I know it's going to be fascinating. 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. I'm going to be sitting back in my chair. I'm going to glass my Pro cup and my glass of palm wine, and I'm surely going to be entertained by you. I know it's going to be great, and I think everybody should follow tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. I like that you said palm wine. Don't tell me about champagne. My grandfather was not drinking champagne, so a quote unquote clean proper guy like you should not be drinking champagne. And so, folks, you don't want to miss it. The Hour of Politics with me, Ansony, Sieh, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The rise and fall of Mr. Eugene Lamin Fagon, now former Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs of the Republic of Liberia. Mr. Gayman, the questions we have for you in our effort to educate our people on the things that are happening in our country, we have exhausted them. Your closing statement on Dillon, Nyomli, the president, they are out of the country in the midst of this killer virus in Liberia. Please close us.
Yes, and like I always told the folks, government is everybody. And I am a student of local government. Just like when we were in school in Liberia, we say the government begins with the family in our home. And the scripture also says charity begins at home. So if this is true and this is factual and we believe in this, we have to first protect ourselves. When you get on the plane, before you take off, they do that demonstration and they say, in case of emergency, put your mask on first before you help your wife, your child, because without you, there may not be enough help for them. Same thing. While we are waiting for the president, the senator from Bassa, senator from Monserrato, for them to return to their home, it is incumbent upon us. We are the first line of defense. They're giving you the public awareness. Wash your hands, wear your mask, stay away from crowd, stay at home if you have to. One person go out, purchase for the family, come home, and follow the protocol. We cannot expect the government to do this. We can't expect our senators to do this. We can't expect our governor to do this. That first line of defense is us. We are getting the information. This virus is serious. It's a killer virus. Don't take it lightly. Wash your hands as often as you can. Wear your mask. Stay indoors. Stay away from crowd. Stay within your immediate family and limit visitation. Don't go visit family and don't let family come and visit you for the time being until you can get the sound clear. Until then, we have to actually protect ourselves and, in essence, protect our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Jerome Gayman is the host of our program On Point, and he is always here with his partner, Mr. George Kanentule, who is not in today. Thank you for joining us on this yet another edition of On Point. I'm Ansony Sieh. I came to fill in for my good friend, Mr. George Kanentule. We hope we were able to serve you. Mr. Gayman is right. We have a pandemic on our hands. Everybody should take precaution. And it is you who can take that precaution, the precaution that will prevent you from this killer virus. It is the most dangerous variant of all the variants that we know about, according to the scientists. That is why Liberians should not do our usual Liberian thing. Sometimes I joke to say, well, I'm a crewman, I eat palm butter, I eat too much pepper, and coronavirus can't stand pepper. These kind of jokes sometimes come back to bite us somewhere. I will not call that place. And so, folks, let us observe all the protocols. The government will not protect you from this virus. Joshua will not protect you from this virus. The law will not protect you from this virus. Normally, quote unquote, the head of the CPP that's supposed to be the alternative, she is not in the country. She is not going to save you. You have to do that for yourself, fellow Liberians. You don't have a president who is home. He's out of the country. His apologists, his surrogates are telling us he has all right to leave home when there's the giant killer virus that is in the home killing his people. And they say he's right for doing so. And his budget is even not propos. I get the last word, right? Yeah. So these people not going to save you. You have to do it for yourself. Wash your hands. Don't go out when it's not necessary. And then when you come from out to go find food, make sure you wash your hands. Let there be a designated family member to go and get food. And let everybody observe the protocols. And then we will be able to save ourselves from the killer virus, because our leaders, in the words of Darius Dillon, they are spineless. They don't care about all, they care for themselves more. We look at the budget, we see millions for themselves. We see a few $1,000s for our people. And that is how you know I'm telling you the truth. On that note, folks, this is how we'll come to the end of this program On Point. I hope my partner, Mr. Jerome Gayman, was on point. In some instances, he was not. I am on point from start to end. Folks, enjoy the song that says we are all Liberians, and bye-bye.
We are Liberians.